Hello, everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode.
Woo!
In today's episode, we are going to be reviewing Fright Farm in Smithfield, PA. If you are not familiar with our channel, we have been here many years, and it's one of our favorites, I'll say. We always really like it. It is a giant haunt, very long. It's a hayride. It's a trail. It's a haunted house. It's all the things. All of them in just one giant, long attraction. This was also part of our documentary, Haunt Behind the Scare, so make sure you go watch that after you watch this video. We also will be having a giveaway later in the episode, so make sure you stay tuned. So that being said, enjoy this episode of Haunt Talk. So yes, Fright Farm, as the name implies, is on a farm. And yeah, it feels like it. So one of the things you'll notice that's different about this place, as soon as you get there, you get your tickets and all of that, and you walk up a hill. I like to, you can't see anything from the road. No. You see a sign that says Fright Farm in the ticket booth. That's like it. Yeah. Yeah, you have to walk a good distance before you actually see, like, really anything. Yeah. It's a cool reveal, right? Because, like, you're walking up this, like, it's not like a hill, but it's like a little hill that kind of gradually, and then once you get to the top, just way out in the distance, you just see, like, this giant red lit structure. And you're like, what's that? And then you get closer, you're like, wow, that's like a giant mansion thing. And it's like, okay. But the thing that we really like about Fright Farm that we were saying that makes it different is there isn't a queue line, you know? And they started this a few years ago. Like when I first went there was just a giant line. But now, you know, there's just a number that gets called. So you can go do their escape rooms. They have tons of carnival games. You can go get food, which their food's actually really good. Oh, yeah. They have a really pretty gift shop with tons of cool merchandise and stuff like that. Definitely check it out. Just a ton of fun things to do. So it makes it so much better than just standing in line with a bunch of strangers, just slowly moving. It just makes it so much fun. There's picnic tables, you can go sit. I think there's there's like fire pits. Even have now like light synchronized to music. Yeah, they do have a special like VIP area that you can pay to get into. You can and that's like a BYOB. Like they don't serve alcohol there, but if you do that, you can bring your own bottle to that. Yeah. And there's like a special parking place, I believe, for you for that too. Yeah. If you're doing the VIP stuff. They also have bands, I believe. Yes. Play some nights. So that's cool. We went on a Sunday, so there wasn't bands playing. But that being said, this is a massive haunt to review, so we're going to get into that review now, which as always means we must refer to the Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Book of the Dead! Alright, so as always, we're going to start with sets and props. Now, I'm going to say, for some of this, we're not going to be able to talk about everything, because again, this haunt is gigantic. Yeah. But we're going to kind of try and highlight some of the things, you know, that are our favorites and just like standout things because we don't want to be sitting here rambling for a half hour, 45 minutes, whatever. So again, you start off on the hayride. And this year, even though there wasn't a ton new, they like made improvements to almost everything, which I really liked. Yeah. Like they moved a few things around and kind of like upgraded some stuff and there was a few rooms that were a little bit different, a little like some stuff that was different, but yeah, like they like changed like the lighting package a little bit. Yeah, the lighting was a lot more impressive. The coke ovens that you get to at the beginning, those were really coolly lit. They were like blue and red, and there's like these weird phantoms with green, I think it was green lanterns up top. Yeah. From a distance, it actually looked like the way that it was lit from a distance as we were coming up the hill to look at it, they actually looked like these big red tombstones that were like sitting out in the distance. And I was like, oh, what is this? And then I realized it was the coke ovens. I'm like, wow. That's really pretty. And there's like an animatronic there that talks to you. A really cool graveyard scene. That the graveyard scene's always been there, but they improved it a lot this year. Had a lot of detail. There's like this giant mausoleum there now. There's like a church that's on fire, a gas station, some barns you go into. One like flames are being thrown around in there. That's cool. Like a junkyard. One thing that was new this year, which is cool, is they have like this like phantom ghost thing that flies after you on a drone. So it's cool. There's like an actual ghost flying at you.
Yeah,
that was really neat.
neat.
Also, one of those giant vortex tunnels that the entire Hayride goes through, which is always super trippy.
Really?
If you haven't been in one of those before, it's much different than the ones you walk through. The way it feels.
It really does. Like, I am kind of desensitized for regular walking through vortex tunnels, but the ones that you have to like, you're like on a hayride or whatever, and you have to go through, and you have like no control over how like fast you're going and stuff. Those get me.
Yeah, I mean, it just feels like the whole hayride is just kind of doing this. It's very effective. And then, of course, you pull up to the actual haunt, and you are given the whole spiel by the skeletons. And one of the big new additions this year was the hotel theme. So they're kind of like talking like you're checking into the Hawthorne, which is the name of the hotel. So that's kind of cool. And then you get off, and you like walk through the house very, very briefly. And then you go out into the outside section, starting with the grounds, which is, we've said it before, one of the most impressive cemeteries. And we got kind of lucky. So on this Sunday that we went, where we live, it was downpouring all day. Up there, thankfully, it was more of a light rain.
Very light, yeah.
Which really added to two specific scenes. This one being one of them, because they do have like lightning and thunder effects.
Yeah.
So mixed with the actual rain, really felt like we were walking through a cemetery on a stormy night.
Yeah.
And there's fog, but the fog with like the mist from the rain just really just kind of made it was super eerie, and the lighting was so cool.
Yeah.
Obviously that's nothing you can really plan, but if you can somehow manage to go on a night that's just lightly raining, you should. But yeah, the cemetery, nothing super really changed in the cemetery, but man, it's just beautiful. I love their cemetery scene. After that, you go through, there's a few things you go through, but the main thing after that is, it's like a trick-or-treat kind of like town. So you enter through like this pumpkin archway that's absolutely beautiful, and then you go through the actual town, and it's quite large. It looks like you are walking through like a Salem, Massachusetts kind of downtown
like a little
type
village. Yeah, like it's just the work they did. It's just so elaborate, and it really does feel like you're like in this like little quaint little town, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I like that they changed this year is after you exit that, you kind of walk around to the right, and then you would go into a house that's kind of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre themed, but they made the entryway themed like it was a Halloween party.
Yeah.
That gone bad. So it blends in with that trick-or-treat kind of vibe more, and then it just slowly pretty much becomes like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you're going through like you go through that house, and then you go through like a really disgusting meat cart, and then there's like a chain link fence. And then you get to another really cool area that's newer called the Wharf. This was the other scene that was very much enhanced by the wetness.
Yes. Yeah. They changed this up a little bit because before it was kind of like a bayou-ish kind of theme. So this time they wanted to change it up into like more like a nautical wharf kind of thing. They even had like a boat that they put in there. That was really awesome. And yeah, the rain just kind of added to it because it was just so wet and just really got you into that whole like being by the sea kind of thing. There was a shark hanging up in there.
Yeah.
All that fun stuff.
Really, really cool. Really, really cool scene. And then you eventually get to the mansion, and you actually get to enter it. And again, last year it was themed to bugs. That's pretty much all gone now because they added like the hotel. This one, I don't know if there's like an overarching theme that changed the rooms up, but it was there's like a character this year, which was the Guillotine Queen.
Yeah, the Guillotine Queen. She was they have like a whole story that they tell you. There's actually we'll talk about more in actors, but there's like a whole story about her, how they like accused her of being a witch and stuff like that, and so they killed her. Well, then she ended up like cursing the town, and so she like, you know, pops up and kills people using the guillotine.
Yeah. So you quickly go through some pretty like normal, I guess, like haunted house style scenes, but done very well. Like your kitchens, your like a basement, and there's like a wine cellar type of thing you go through. There's the attic, and the cool thing is, since this is an actual mansion, you are actually going up into an attic. There's even one part where you go outside and kind of walk on a balcony, and you get a cool view of the hollow grounds. Really awesome stuff. We had actually brought some people that had never been to this before, and like seeing their reactions for the first time, they just kept being like, "This is so cool," and I'm like, "I know, all right." It's almost like that's why I brought you here. But yeah, not much has changed like in this part of the haunt. Not a ton, at least. It's still, there's a couple new things I think that they kind of changed around and added. But the big new thing is after you get through that is you get to go through the Hawthorne Hotel, which is very much inspired by the Tower of Terror, which is my favorite ride at Hollywood Studios. And yes, that's including Rise the Resistance. I'm sorry, I still like Tower of Terror better than that ride. Absolutely loved this edition because it used to just be kind of like a basement/sewer thing. I like this so much better. Get to see a lot of really cool scenes. There's like the hotel like check-in desk, and there's like that like I don't know, it's like 50s style music. I don't know.
Yeah, like old-fashioned-y kind of like doo-wop-ish. Yeah,
real creepy. There's like a whole like elevator scene. You have like hotel bedrooms. There's a kitchen scene, the laundry scene. Stuff you would find in a hotel.
Yeah.
It's hotel themed. But yeah, absolutely loved that addition. And then the other big new one was because they have like the big room, which last year was like the frozen like Yeti kind of like room. This year was tenements. So kind of like think like New York City street.
Yeah.
And there's always a grand reveal because you like kind of walk up, and this one time you're going through a couple apartments, but then you exit and you see like the big city kind of like thing underneath you, and you have to walk down into it. And that's, I don't know, it's really cool, and there's always like this grandiose feeling of it. They had like a whole like newspaper stand, and just like the sound and everything really sold that you're in like New York or like X big city in a back alley.
Yeah.
Really had that feel, and they really nailed it, I think. And those bricks look so real.
I can't believe it's just like
a vinyl like thing,
like
a wallpaper.
It was crazy.
It looks so realistic. Yeah. It's so cool. And then after that, it's kind of like a little fun house section. There's like a vortex tunnel, then some wiki-whack floors that really kind of mess with you. It's like right at the vortex tunnel, they throw you into floors that are like this, and it's like, oh my god. And then after you leave that, there's one final last thing, which is Slaughter Hollow, which is it's not super themed, but it's basically just a barn with crazed chainsaw people in it to kind of end with a punch, right? Like the rest of it's just really focused on not being scary, but just being beautiful, and just, you're like, ooh, where this one's just focused on like it's like the grand finale of just like, these people are here and they're here to kill you kind of thing. And it's just like, it's this definitely the shortest like portion, but they just wanted to end on something really intense, and I think they nailed that home. It kind of makes you go, oof. But yeah, Sets and Prop is a 10. You absolutely must go see this place. Even if you're not the biggest fan of haunted houses, man, like this, like the artistry at this place and just the scope of it is. There's not many other places like this in scope. It's awesome. But yes, that being said, now we're going to talk about actors. And one thing I will note is we went on a Sunday, and we were informed because, again, we made the documentary, so we have a person that we talked to and stuff, and we were told like, hey, already on Sundays we're kind of short-staffed. That's why they charge less, which we'll talk about in value. But we also had some call-offs tonight, so I don't really know if the show is going to be as good as we typically like it. And I will say, for being a Sunday and having call-offs, I think the actors that were there did really, really good.
Oh, yeah.
I want to start with that. Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually really impressed with the actors, especially being a Sunday, and like he said, usually those are typical days that you don't have a lot of people on, because usually people aren't really going to haunted houses on Sundays, or a lot of the people that are actors are like going back to school, things like that. So you have like only people that are like local that will come back and work there and stuff like that. But I was thoroughly impressed with how many were there and what job they were doing, because they were just doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, I like the zombies in the grave, or maybe because in the makeup, because they don't really, they do kind of scare you a little bit, but they're really just that like slow moving zombie, and just I don't know, they play the part well. There was a cool preacher in front of the church that was saying preacher things. The people that pilot the puppets are always pretty cool on the Hayride. The Chainsaw Barn people, they were pretty intense. They were really having a fun time with it, and it's like set to like lights and stuff like that when they activate it. There was a girl in the other barn with like a hammer. She's like playing it to like the beats of like the fire and stuff. That was pretty neat. Then kind of getting into the haunt itself. I mean, obviously there's a lot of them. We can't sit here and mention all of them. We really like the people in the cemetery. They were doing a pretty good job. They got me more in the cemetery than normal, which I like.
Yeah,
I feel like before they just kind of walked around like being ghostly, where this year I liked it. They were being a little more aggressive and focusing more on actually doing jump scares. So that was good. Probably one of the areas that had the most people was the trick-or-treat area. It just really felt like a lively town, which I really thought was nice.
Kids that were trick-or-treating were very aggressive. And were just like...
Really wanted candy.
Really bombarding us, wanting candy. And there was even like... There's like a little maze, kind of like a wire fence kind of maze right shortly after that. He actually popped in there and he was like asking for candy and shaking his bucket at us and stuff like that as we're trying to go through this little maze, which I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah, they were very effective. We liked the wharf people and the way they were done up, very like ghostly fishermen, just freaky kind of thing. The storyteller, which we kind of briefly mentioned earlier, she was really awesome. She had a lot of stuff she was saying. I'm assuming she was reading it, but the way she read it was very good.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't sound like she was reading a script. It really sounded like she was telling the story with conviction, and she just kind of slowly followed you while just kind of belting out this story to kind of like what you're about to like walk into.
Yeah. So she was the one that was telling us about the guillotine queen and the whole, mythology about her and stuff like that before we actually went into the house and encountered her.
Yeah, because that was the one you said that was her in the kitchen that like scared us multiple times.
Yeah, because she had like a burlap sack over her head.
Yeah, so she was also really good because she got us like 4 different times. And then you go up into the attic and there's a girl that's chained to the bed and she had a whole spiel that she went through. One of the really funny ones that was later on in the hotel section is I just have her down as or have them down as washer room girls. They were. Well, do you remember the joke they told us?
I don't.
Yeah, I can't either. But they were telling each other some kind of bad dad joke, like one to pop their head out of the washing machine like door and like say like the joke, and then the other person would like answer the joke type of thing. So that was really funny. There is also a woman later on in the hotel scene that was getting baked, and her and the guy that was like baking her in the oven were like arguing. She's like, well, I can't cook until you season me, and it was just really weird. It was funny, really just this like banter between the two of them was pretty fun. I need to be seasoned. Yeah, I won't cook right if I'm not seasoned or something like that. I'm like, what's happening? Oh no, that was pretty cool. And then of course the actors in Slaughter Hollow, wow, they really oh my gosh. It's a freaky section, I will say. That was one of the things that they told us they really wanted to up the intensity over last year, because last year was the first year I think they had this. Yeah. Because it starts off with the kill show where they they kill an actor in front of you. There's just a lot of chainsaws. If you're not a fan of chainsaws, you're gonna hate this.
They got it felt like they were like this close with that chainsaw. Like it was scary because it was like they had strobe lights going, and then the guy's waving the chainsaw, and he's getting up in there and stuff like that. And it really did. I was scared that he was gonna hit me with it.
Oh yeah.
Like because I'm just keeping this pace, and he's just getting in there, and I'm just like, oh God, please don't hit me.
Yeah. And before you get to, because that's like one of the final scenes, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit too, but there's like something that happened before that. I don't know if I want to call it a scene, but it was like this interaction between the two actors where I think she was like the victim, and she's like running out at us, and then he's held her down, and he like took someone else's face and was like making her wear this face and like holding her down, and it was really disturbing. I couldn't make out everything he was saying, but it was pretty messed up. But yeah, that final scene that Kim's talking about, how it kind of works is it's like this platform that's in the middle of the room, and you have to walk all around it, and there's like multiple chainsaw people, and they're just like, they're above you, so they're swinging it down at you, shoving it in front of your face, and you're just kind of like ducking the whole time, just kind of like watching up there. Because of the strobe lights, it really does give the effect that they're going to clock you with it.
Yeah.
Obviously, they've trained a lot, and you're going to be fine, but like it really gives the illusion that you're about to just get messed up. And it's a great... It's not the last scene, but it's the last, like, big scene that you really see, and I think that's a really good way to kind of end it. And I also like, as you're then walking back up to the farm, there's, like, a little photo op, and you're, like, in a little light tunnel. Like, it's, like, slowly, like, getting back to the party atmosphere now that you just got, like, chased out of, like, the slaughter hollow, which is cool. Is that actors we thought were absolutely phenomenal. Yes, they could have used a few more in some sections, but again, it was a Sunday, and knowing that they were pretty short-staffed that day, I imagine like you going on Fridays or Saturday, you're going to be in for a real good show this year. Because again, what we got on Sunday was absolutely amazing, and like everyone that was there did such a good job.
Oh my gosh.
And the makeup there is also really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we gave actors a 9. So that moves us... Do I want to give you tickets yet? Yeah, we'll talk about that before we talk about scare factor. So, if you would like to win tickets for this haunt, this is how you do it. You're going to comment on the video saying, I want the tickets. You can say something else, but it has to say, I want the tickets. And then you're going to click the link in the description of the video and fill out the form. You're going to include your name, your email. It'll have all the things you need to include in there, but it's going to ask for the video password. And entering that is going to let me know that you actually watched the video this far, and which one you are entering to win tickets for. So, let's see. The video password for this one will be Hawthorne 2024, off from the name of the hotel. And again, it'll be spelled out right on screen there. And again, you don't have to worry about case sensitive or anything. It's not like it won't let you enter it. It's something that gets submitted to me so I can see which one you entered for the tickets for and that you watched it. And we will be announcing the winner for these tickets on Friday the 11th. It'll be for 2 tickets. Do not enter if you will not be able to use them. Make sure you're checking your email, because that's where I'm going to let you know. I'm just going to message you and let you know if you win. And if you don't respond to me, then I'll have to give them to someone else, because I want to make sure that someone actually gets them. We'll also probably post it on our social media. But yes, if you enter, a good luck to you. All right, so now we're going to continue with review and talk about scare factor.
Like we said before, this place is has a good blend of scares and just kind of being like in that like spooky atmosphere. It's not super intense, but it's gonna get you. Like there's gonna be some good jump scares.
Yeah, I mean, because again, with a haunt that's this long, there's no way that I think it could be just continuously scary as something like Chippewa Lake Slaughterhouse. And I always use them as an example, but I don't think you would want it to be. This haunt is really, while focused on being scary, is also focused on just being like, look what we can do. Like, and it really is, right? Like, you can tell they're fans of things like Halloween Horror Nights and just other big, giant productions, and it's like, we want to do that as well. Just the scale they do it on is massive. Yeah. And you can really tell that this is not just for money for them. Like, this is a passion that they do, and they put a lot of hard work into it. And again, you can go watch the documentary to see more of that stuff. But I do really like the fact that it ends on Slaughter Hollow with as intense it is, because it really gives you that final punch, because it's just like a movie, right? You want the ending to be good, and that's like the final taste it leaves in your mouth. With this, I like it because, again, it's the least themed of like the entire haunt. It really is just kind of a barn with like pallets, essentially, kind of. That's underselling it a bit. But that's because this part is just like supposed to be like a little 3 to 5 minute long journey of you just being assaulted by crazy people with loud music, strobe lights, fogs, and just crazy chainsaw people chasing you around. Like for the entire haunt up into this, we're like walking at a slow, steady pace. But this, I just felt the need, like I need to run, like, and so it just kind of shows you the adrenaline rush it gives you, and it does. It gives you like that grand finale, which I really like that, and I know that has to be what they were going for, and I really do think that they were very successful in what they were going for. Yeah. So I really like that, because I've seen other haunts try to do something similar to this and not do it super well. And yeah, I thought that they pull it off really well with that. But yeah, for scare factor, we gave it a 9, because again, there are moments that are decently scary, but I think it's very well paced in the fact that it goes back and forth between being more eye candy and more scary. It kind of it blends that really nicely. Yeah. So value, this is one of those haunts that's going to be different depending on the night that you go. So it took us 60 minutes about to get through there. Probably we were in there for a little bit longer. But I did pause it when we wait in the line to get into the house. So like we were probably in the actual thing for about an hour and 10 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes. But actual like haunt time from like beginning of the tractor from the time we left Slaughter Hollow was about an hour. So that is very long for a haunted house. There are not many haunted houses that have an hour long non-stop runtime.
Yeah.
That's crazy impressive. So pricing, so on Fridays it's $35. Saturdays it's $40. That's the most expensive day. And then what's really crazy is Thursdays and Sundays are discount like value days. It's only $25 on Thursdays and Sundays. And again, which I love that because so many haunts charge like full price on like the Sundays or whatever when they know they're not going to be fully staffed and they know the show could be considered lesser. So I love that they discount those days where it's like, yeah, there might not be as many actors, but you're saving a decent amount of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, $25 for a 60-minute long haunted house, that's wow. And again, we went on a weekend that the weather is pretty awful and they had a lot of call-offs and it was still phenomenal. So, yeah. So now if you want to do a fast pass, it is $30 more than whatever the general is for that day. So like, you know, Sundays, Thursdays, 55, blah, blah, blah. Now again, if you were trying to hit multiple, you might need that. But I would say the fast pass isn't super necessary because of the fact, like I mentioned earlier, there's not a line. You can just kind of have fun and do other things. So unless you really are trying to go other places, I'd recommend just kind of vibing out.
Yeah.
Getting food, spending that extra $30 on things like merchandise and stuff like that. Like I said, I'd only recommend the fast pass if it's either crazy busy or if you're trying to do multiple haunts. But yeah, value, we actually gave them a 10 just because of the fact that I think if you go on a Thursday or Sunday and you're only paying $25 for this, or even 35 is really good. And I mean, 40s for Saturday is good too, but that's just their busiest day, so they're going to make it a little bit more. But for the quality and the amount that you're getting, I think that that's priced perfectly where it should be.
Oh, yeah. So that brings us to our overall score, which is a 9.25.
Yeah, absolutely. We really like this year's show. I think that it's even more beautiful than usual, and it already was with the extra lighting, and I just really like every single thing they added. The little bit they added to that trick-or-treat section, the wharf scene, I like that a lot. I love the hotel stuff. The changes they made to like Slaughter Hollow and that by making it more intense. Just everything they did just elevated what was already really good. The only thing I would say I would like to see a little bit more, I would still like to see a little bit more love shown to the Hayride. I like the Hayride, but I like a little more like pyrotechnics and something like that. There was a couple parts that felt like the Hayride maybe should have stopped that didn't. So I would just, that would be like my only thing I would say is I'd like, even though I think the Hayride is a very good Hayride and it's absolutely beautiful, I would like to see maybe a couple more like zany elements, kind of like we talked about at Doodahs, like them like firing like a nitrous oxide cannon at you and just like weird stuff.
Yeah.
Like maybe one or two of that. And there's a little bit of that, but, and I think that would like bring this into like 10 territory.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall still, this is an absolute must see. You must go to this haunted house if you haven't been there yet. And even if you have, they change enough every year where it makes it fresh to go back every year. Like every year there's something to look forward to. Yeah, and it did not disappoint. But have you been there? Comment down below and let us know. Make sure you're liking and subscribing. And also make sure you're ringing that notification bell so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Because the next places we will be going after you see this review, we'll be going to Chicago. So Hell's Gate, the 13th floor, the old, what's the prison? Old Joliet prison. So a lot of big names we're going to be going to that we've never been to. So we're super excited, and hopefully you're excited to see those reviews as well. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.